Hey there, and welcome to this episode of Green Living for Real Life, where I share simple swaps and easy things that you can do in your regular real life to live a little more eco-friendly every day. Have you ever flipped over one of your plastic containers and wondered what those little numbers in the triangle actually mean? Or wonder if the plastic containers that have been sitting in your kitchen cabinets forever are actually safe for storing food? I know a lot of moms are trying to reduce plastic these days, but the information that's online can be confusing, kind of extreme, not to mention expensive. So today we're going to clear that up. Hi, I'm Pam, and I share simple ways to live greener in real life, especially for busy moms who want to use less plastic without completely overhauling their lives. And if you like practical green living tips like this, make sure that you hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. So when I first started learning about plastics a few years ago, I thought the only safe option was going to be to throw out every plastic container in my kitchen and replace it all with glass. And honestly, that felt kind of overwhelming. It also felt unrealistic. And then what I eventually learned is that not all plastics are the same. So some plastics are much more stable for food use than others. And understanding the difference makes this whole topic a lot easier to navigate. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through a couple of things. What those plastic numbers actually mean, which plastics are generally considered safe for food storage, which ones I personally try to limit, and how to make small upgrades over time without throwing everything away. And if you want a little help sorting through the plastic containers in your own kitchen, I created something that might help. It's called the Safe Plastics Food Storage Guide, and it's a simple step-by-step checklist that helps busy moms like you quickly identify which containers to keep, which ones to replace, and where to start reducing plastic in your kitchen without feeling overwhelmed. So you can grab that at the link below. So the most important thing to understand is this: not all plastics are the same. The number you see inside the recycling triangle identifies the type of plastic material used to make the container. It's not technically a safety rating, but it does help us understand how stable that plastic is and how it behaves with food. Plastic containers are labeled with numbers from 1 to 7, and each number represents a different type of plastic. For example, number 1 is PET, commonly used for things like disposable water bottles and soda bottles. Number 2 is HDPE, which you'll often see on like milk jugs and some food containers. Number 3 is PVC. Number 4 is LDPE. And number 5 is polypropylene. Number 6 is polystyrene, which is what foam containers are made of. And number 7 is basically a category for other plastics, which can include a mix of materials. So understanding these numbers helps you know what kind of plastic you're dealing with. When it comes to food storage, there are a few plastics that are generally considered more stable. So these include number 2, HDPE, number 4, LDPE, and number 5, polypropylene. These plastics are commonly used in food packaging and food storage containers. They tend to be more stable and are less likely to break down under normal use. Polypropylene, number 5, is especially common in reusable food storage containers. The plastics I'm most comfortable using for food storage are usually numbers 2, 4, and 5. There are also some plastics that I personally try to limit for food storage, and these include number 3, PVC, number 6, polystyrene, and many plastics labeled number 7 since they're kind of unknown. So these plastics can contain additives or materials that raise more questions from a health standpoint, and they're often also harder to recycle. So when I'm making decisions about food containers, these are the ones I tend to phase out over time. So the plastics that I personally try to limit for food storage, again, are numbers 3, 6, and most number 7 plastics. So another really important factor when it comes to plastic containers is heat. Heat can increase the movement of chemicals from plastic into food. So even if you're using a more stable plastic, it's still a good idea to be cautious about things like microwaving food in plastic containers or pouring very hot food into a plastic container or repeatedly putting plastic containers through the dishwasher. Personally, I try to use glass containers whenever I'm reheating leftovers or dealing with really hot foods. The biggest issue with plastic containers is heat. So one of the biggest mistakes people make with this topic is thinking that they have to overhaul their entire kitchen all at once. And you really don't. A much more realistic approach is to make changes gradually. For example, when a container cracks or wears out, replace it with glass. Use glass for reheating leftovers. And keep the lower risk plastics you already own for things like cold food storage. Small upgrades over time are much easier to maintain. So you don't have to overhaul your kitchen to make better choices about plastic. So here's the takeaway. The numbers on plastic containers identify the type of plastic. Some plastics like number 2, 4, and 5 are generally more stable for food storage. Others like 3, 6, and many 7 plastics are ones that I personally try to limit. And heat is one of the biggest factors when it comes to how plastic behaves with food. Understanding those basics can help you make better choices without feeling overwhelmed. And again, if you want help quickly sorting through the plastic containers in your kitchen, check out my Safe Food Storage Guide at the link below. Again, it walks you step by step through how to identify what you have and where to start making upgrades. And if this episode was helpful, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And living greener doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It just means learning where small changes can make the biggest difference. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Green Living for Real Life. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.